Are you Team Airbus or Team Boeing? It's a question that stirs up passionate debates, divides aviation fans, and floods comment sections across the internet. If you're even mildly fascinated by commercial aviation, chances are someone's already asked you this, or maybe you've already picked a side without realizing it, because this isn't just about aircraft, it's about trust, it's about design, it's about which philosophy you believe should rule the skies. For over 5 decades, Airbus and Boeing have gone head-to-head in what might be the most fascinating industrial rivalry in modern history. Boeing, the American aviation powerhouse, had already shaped global air travel by the 1970s. But that was the decade everything changed. That's when Europe, tired of watching the US dominate the skies, introduced a bold new player, Airbus. An alliance of European manufacturers joined forces to challenge the aviation status quo, and since then, the skies have never been the same. While some airlines mix and match, flying both Boeing and Airbus aircraft, others go all in, some for political reasons, others for performance, cost, or logistical convenience. But to the passengers who step on board, the battle between Airbus and Boeing is personal, and once you start noticing the differences, it becomes impossible to unsee them. Start with the cockpit. It's the clearest sign of all. If you've ever managed to peek inside as you boarded a flight, you may have noticed something telling. On Boeing aircraft, pilots use a traditional yoke, that iconic steering column that looks like a control wheel from a vintage warplane. It gives pilots direct tactile feedback, and it's been Boeing's signature for decades. Airbus? It flipped that idea upside down. Instead of a yoke, Airbus pilots use a side stick, a modern joystick mounted on the side of the seat. It's sleek, futuristic, fighter jet inspired. But this isn't just a cosmetic difference, it really defines how the aircraft flies. Boeing aircraft give pilots direct control over the plane. You pull back on the yoke, the elevators respond. You bank left, the plane obeys. It's intuitive, immediate, and mechanical. Airbus, on the other hand, pioneered something revolutionary: fly-by-wire. The side stick doesn't move the aircraft directly. Instead, it sends electronic signals to a computer, which then decides how best to move the control surfaces. In an Airbus, no matter how aggressively a pilot pulls the side stick, the aircraft will not exceed its design safety limits. The computer steps in and overrides unsafe maneuvers. A Boeing pilot, on the other hand, can theoretically stall the aircraft if they push it too far, because Boeing trusts the pilot more than the system. One philosophy prioritizes human control, the other prioritizes software safeguards. Not convinced yet? Even the aircraft door reveals who you're flying with. As you step onto the plane, take a moment to look at the main door. On an Airbus, the door swings open parallel to the fuselage. It slides out, smooth and efficient. But a Boeing door swings outward and flips around, exposing the inner panel. It's a subtle but unmistakable difference. Even the handles differ. Airbus handles pull from the bottom up, while Boeing's move left to right. It's the kind of detail that flight attendants notice instantly. And once you see it for yourself, you'll never forget it. Now let's talk about the most iconic Airbus quirk of all, the barking dog. If you've flown on an Airbus A320 or A330, chances are you've heard it. That strange mechanical woof, woof, woof sound coming from beneath the floor. Passengers sometimes look around nervously, unsure if something's wrong. But it's not a warning, it's a good sign. That sound comes from the Power Transfer Unit, or PTU, which balances hydraulic pressure between systems when one engine is off. It's actually a normal part of Airbus operations. Some frequent flyers even find it comforting, a kind of mechanical heartbeat of the plane. Boeing aircraft also use PTUs, but theirs operate far more quietly, making the Airbus bark another signature difference between the two giants. But there's more to this battle than just hardware. Boeing's legacy is steeped in history. Founded in 1916 by William E. Boeing, the company started by building seaplanes and later supplied aircraft for the United States Navy in World War I. Over time, Boeing expanded into airmail services, airline operations, and large-scale manufacturing. In fact, United Airlines, one of the biggest carriers in the world today, traces its roots back to Boeing's early ventures. Although antitrust laws later forced Boeing to separate its airline business, that historic connection remains part of its DNA. Airbus, by contrast, doesn't have a direct airline bloodline. It was born out of political will and economic necessity, a symbol of Europe's determination to compete on the world stage. While it may not have the same romantic founding story as Boeing, Airbus became a beacon of innovation across Europe. And it has received tremendous loyalty from homegrown carriers like Lufthansa, Air France, and Iberia, whether due to national pride, proximity, or political influence. And yet the differences continue, not just in commercial aviation, but beyond. Boeing isn't just building airplanes, it's actually one of the world's leading defense contractors. It makes space systems, satellites, and some of the most advanced military helicopters in existence, like the AH-64 Apache, the CH-47 Chinook, and the futuristic V-22 Osprey. Airbus competes in many of the same areas, except for one: civilian helicopters. That's Airbus's turf. In 2022 alone, Airbus delivered 344 helicopters, generating over 7 billion euros in revenue. Boeing, it doesn't even compete in the civilian helicopter space. So what does all this mean for you, the passenger? It means that next time you board a flight, you're stepping into more than just a tube with wings. You're actually stepping into a global rivalry, a war of design philosophies, a difference in feel, function, and flying experience. Some folks prefer the raw mechanical honesty of Boeing, while others really love the smooth, intelligent systems of Airbus. There's no right answer, but there is a choice. So, are you Team Airbus or Team Boeing? Let us know in the comments. Tell us your favorite aircraft, your weirdest flying moment, or just which one feels better when you're cruising at 35,000 feet. And hey, if you love this kind of deep dive aviation storytelling, don't just fly by, hit that follow button. We've got more insider secrets, crazy plane facts, and industry stories coming your way every single week. Because in the world of aviation, there's always more beneath the surface.